It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 326. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters. It is Tuesday once again, my friends. So y'all know that means we about to go back to who? Mike from That Chapter. That Chapter Tuesdays, y'all. Hope y'all doing excellent out there today. And I'm glad that you came on back to the channel once again to fuck with the bean. Now, the title of this video, Twisted Frat Boy Hid His Disturbing Secrets in Plain Sight. Now, I'm gonna try to go a little deep real quick with this title, y'all. Some of y'all might think I'm thinking too hard, but this is just what I'm thinking about this title. When it say Frat Boy hid his disturbing secrets in plain sight, I'm thinking that this boy, this frat guy or whatever, he really didn't know that he was hiding them in plain sight. Like, he wasn't trying to intentionally hide them. It's just the people who was around him didn't really realize what the fuck was going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he was actually intentionally hiding it in plain sight. It was just one of them situations where the people around him was the ones who could have got, if it was a snake, it would have bit him. He was the snake the whole time and they ain't even fucking know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, y'all know the damn term of when people be like, when somebody be looking for something and then somebody else be like, it's right there, and you be like, well. Then you be like, oh shit, if it was a snake, it would have bit me. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is, y'all. And I know some of y'all think I'm talking crazy as hell. But we finna see, my brothers and sisters. But before we see, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you might need. Get what you need. That Chapter Tuesdays. Y'all got what y'all need? Y'all ready to go? Then let's fucking go.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike. And in this old video, we are going to look at a case which was essentially hiding in plain sight for years. And that is, what exactly happened to a college student walking home one night after a party? Because she never made it. The person everybody was, giving a side eye to, looking at, was having a great time. Until it was discovered he was an even bigger monster than anybody thought. Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. And get whatever you may need.
In 1996, California Polytechnic State University student Kristen Smart was the one walking home to her dorm room one night. Kristen was 19 years of age, a freshman studying communications, having switched from architecture at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, a college town right between San Jose and Los Angeles. It's a great school with like a learn-by-doing philosophy, and it's located in an absolutely stunning part of the country. A place where Kristen Smart was happy to be, like very, very much so. Kristen came from a very loving family. Her parents, Stan and Denise, both teachers. In fact, Kristen was born in Germany, as her parents taught the children of American military folk. Kristen grew up in Stockton, north of her college town, growing up with a younger brother and sister. She was wicked Christian smart. She was always ready to hit the books and get, that education on. She also had a very sporty side. Also, she loved playing soccer. She was adventurous. She really enjoyed meeting new people. Like, she'd spent the summer of her sophomore year in high school living in London for a couple of months, staying there with family friends. And then the summer before she started Cal Poly, she'd been in Hawaii as a lifeguard and a camp counselor. And she was planning on learning Spanish because she wanted to do an exchange year in Venezuela, if you can believe that. Even though she loved her life and her family and her friends, she always wanted to be somewhere else, maybe be someone else. She often signed her emails with names like Marisol, Rosie, Trixie, Kiana. Your life as an exclamation. Not an explanation. That was Kristen's favorite quote, and she didn't just say it, she lived it. College years were exciting, but she always, called her parents, checked in, visited, all that. It was on the evening of May 24th, 1996 that Kristen Smart was looking to party. It was a hot spring Friday, and the apartments and complexes would be buzzing with students having a good time, college town, and all that. So at 5:30 p.m, 19-year-old Kristen Smart, she left a voicemail for her mother that evening just saying hello and that talking about a biology test she was due to retake. Then at roughly 8:30 p.m, Kristen and 3 of her friends left their dorm rooms and headed to a party at 135 Crandall Way, an unofficial frat house close to the campus. Now Kristen really wanted to go, but the others were See, that place, that house, those parties had developed a bit of a reputation as being kind of, lads, real bro-y, a bit fratty. Some of the girls just weren't kind of comfortable being there. So they ended up going off to a different party and dropped Kristen off there, just about a block away from the house at about 10:30 p.m. Kristen...
what y'all think about that, man? I'm not trying to blame the friends, but I'm just saying... You know how, especially women, man, especially young girls going to parties, you don't just drop, if all y'all got bad vibes about this party, you don't just go drop her off and y'all go to another party and leave her by herself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how I'm thinking, especially like females. I can't speak for female because I'm not a female, but I'm just saying it don't sound right, man. I would think that the group of girls who she was with, who Kristen was with, who didn't want to go to this party, I would think they would be like, nah, girl, if we ain't going, then you can't go either. You got to come with us. You know what I'm saying? Because they feeling uneasy about the situation, so why let her still go? Maybe I'm thinking too deep about it, but I know y'all get what I'm saying, too.
Very independent, strong-willed. Going to a party alone wouldn't be a bother to her. And the party at 135 Crandall Way, it's like typical party, beer kegs, red cups, the music was pumping, there was about 60 people there, beer pong, fights to top it off at the end of the night. What happened there, you can imagine. Blackout drunk would be the word. And at about 2 a.m, Tim Davis, a senior who had helped organize this party, he was like, alright, bars closed, and right there, folks, please, get out. He began shooing everyone out, and as he did so, he noticed that on the lawn next door, there was a girl lying passed out. He recognized her as Roxy, which is what she had been calling herself all night, and he went over, shook her awake to, see if she was okay. It seems Kristen had, a little bit too much to drink, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We all do it, especially, when you're 19 and you don't realize that mixing drinks is a really bad idea, but you know what? There's only one way to learn. But people would say later on that during that night, they never once saw Kristen drunk, at all. In fact, Kristen didn't really drink that much. Sometimes even at parties, she would pretend to be drunk because she just wasn't a big drinker. So that was just kind of weird. Tim, though, he got her up, said, here, listen, I'll walk you out. It's a 10-minute walk, just to make sure you're safe. And another student actually came up to him, Cheryl Anderson, and she said, listen, I'm going that way. I'll walk her. Fine. So they started walking, Kristen and Cheryl, and then they were joined by another student who also, everybody's going this way, and his name was Paul Flores. The 3 of them were walking. Kristen, drunk, would often stop. Paul was holding her, and he was telling Cheryl, here, listen, you just head on, she's drunk, she could be stopping, well, this could be a while, you can just head on, I'll make sure she gets home okay. They reached a crossroads, and Cheryl says, alright, are you guys gonna be okay? 'Cause, my house is this way, you guys are going that way. Paul promises Cheryl, I'll make sure she's fine. I'll get her home safe. Then Paul asked Cheryl for a kiss. She said no. Then he asked for a hug. Weird. Cheryl then turned, started walking away, and as she was walking away, she looked back to see Paul and Kristen stumbling down the road in the direction of her dorm room. And that was the last time Kristen Smart has ever been seen. It was the following morning when a roommate noticed Kristen hadn't made it home. All her stuff was still there, and it was unusual she wasn't there. Her friends, they all met up that Saturday, and word began to spread, where's, Kristen? You seen her? You seen her? You seen her? It was actually that Saturday afternoon they alerted campus police to be, hey, we think our friend could be missing, or, Now, it was actually Memorial Day weekend, so lots of people were coming and going, and so the campus police were initially, she's probably gone back to her family up in Stockton or somewhere else. Hey, it's college. She's probably off doing something. She'll turn up. By Monday, however, they became really scared when they hadn't heard her and hadn't seen her and went back to the police again. This time the police were like, all right, fine. Okay. We'll call her parents. Ring, ring. Is Kristen with you? No, she's not. It was then days had passed that the police finally began started taking this seriously about where the hell Kristen Smart was. Nobody had seen her. Her parents were now freaking out. Her friends were freaking out. And freaking out spread like a miasma across the campus. But even then, when the investigation properly started, they still were of the idea that Kristen will turn up. She'll be here any day now, come on. But we'll look a little bit.
Okay, at first I was trying to get the police the kind of like a benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, yeah, maybe she'll turn up. There's a lot of parties going on. Maybe she went here. She'll be back in a day or two. But dude, now it's getting to the point where this girl is missing. And y'all still around here bullshitting instead of really getting serious about putting a investigation in on this missing person. Like, it's time to get serious now.
When the searches finally did begin, they were wide-scale and nothing. She was gone without a trace. They had leads all right, but nothing real. Oh, maybe I seen her here. Maybe I seen her in Taco Bell. No.
Hoping to find some sign of the missing freshman, Kristen Smart, also known as Roxy, said goodbye to some friends last Saturday morning on this pathway close to her dorm. She hasn't been seen since.
We saw her on Friday night before she disappeared. She was standing on the corner, and that's really strange that we happened to see her, and people are just wondering what happened to her.
Police say foul play is a possibility. They searched Roxy's dorm room and found her wallet, her identification, and medication for attention deficit disorder. On her calendar, a reminder to turn in extra credit homework. But there's also the possibility that she just ran away. Roxy's mother says she was frustrated by some hard classes, and there have been a number of reported sightings of her along the coast.
Campus police finally went to the party she had been at and spoke to everybody there. Eventually, that led them to Paul Flores, the guy who walked her home.
It's not a criminal matter. Basically, what we're doing is we're dealing with still the missing person. Right. Because you're the last person. We appreciate you coming down.
When you were leaving the party and everything was kind of leaving, how did you end up getting together with Kristen? I don't even know. She walked that way. I walked that way. The last time I saw her, then the other girl left at the corner over there, and then and a couple times like on the way. Maybe probably twice, I went like that, just gave her kind of like a hug because she was freezing.
What did she say? Remember any of the conversations you had walking up the hill?
No, she just said she was, the only thing I remember she was saying she was freezing.
So it's very important that you realize, how important this investigation is.
Yeah.
You're grasping this. This is very serious business with a missing woman and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're aware of all this.
I'm aware of it.
When you saw Roxy walking, where was the last place that you saw her?
The last time I saw her was about, it was like right there, right by,
Sequoia.
Is that the one that's on the corner right there? Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I saw her right by there.
Okay. And where was she going? Was she walking? Was she standing still? Was she laying down?
She was walking.
Was she saying anything when she walked away?
No. It's like we didn't even have any, I don't even remember any conversation really during this whole entire time. I don't remember saying goodnight either. I don't remember like.
Okay, somebody lying, bro, because she said you tried to kiss her and hug her and all that before y'all left. You talking about you don't even remember having a conversation with her. You know what I'm saying? So somebody lying, it is more than likely him. But one thing, what I'm wondering now, y'all, because it's pretty plain and clear as day that Paul, the one who killed Christian. We all can agree on that at this point. But what I'm wondering is, was this premeditated? Like, did he know he was doing this from the time when he started walking with her? He knew he was going to. And what I'm thinking is he sexually assaulted her, then killed her. Did he have all that in his mind, or did it just happen as they was walking? That's about the only thing that I can really ponder right now. But I'm going to drop something else on your head real quick. What if Roxy got something to do with it? I'm just saying. I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm just saying it's still a possibility that Roxy ain't not guilty just yet.
He said, yeah, I walked her home. That was it. Walked her to her building, didn't go in. Walked her to the door, perfect gentleman. I said, see you later, Missy. And he left, except for one small thing. The police were eyeballing his eye because he had a black eye.
Is that a basketball line, or I know you got a couple of scabs?
I was playing Monday.
Monday? By any chance, did you have any accident or anything? Those were kind of fresh.
Yeah, the gravel ball loose there.
Take your hair off for a second. What about after your eye?
I got elbow playing basketball.
Okay, good. Okay. Who were you playing basketball with?
I'm playing with my friend Jeremy and two other guys.
It may come down to this, but I'm wondering, are you familiar with the term polygraph? Lie detector? That sort of thing?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Would you be willing to take one if necessary?
Yeah.
Now, Paul was actually a really shitty student. Not the type at all to actually get into Cal Poly. Not on his grades. In fact, the only reason he got in was because he lived in Arroyo Grande, which is like one of the next towns over, and universities and colleges tend to give priority to people who live in the local area. That's the only reason he got in. In college, he was not doing any better, failing courses continually. He was majoring in a D- while studying food sciences. This may have been because he had more of an interest in extracurricular activities, like bowling. Okay. But also getting really, really drunk and climbing on girls' balconies and not leaving until they let him in, or drunk driving and being arrested by police. He was known as obnoxious when drunk, the kind who would hit on his friends' girlfriends. The kind, when he was around, you mentioned any woman at all, he would be like, oh, yeah, I had sex with her already, by the way. It's like full of shit and just a dick. His ideal Friday night was to get drunk, alone, in his room, then wander around looking for parties. Looking for women, to the point that his nickname was Chester the Molester. Hard to get a bigger red flag.
Wow.
And that's exactly what he had done that particular Friday night. Got drunk, alone, and then wandered till he found this party. Till he found Kristen. Now, the police had searched his dorm room and they found no evidence of a crime there. Zero blood, Kristen's things, nothing. And as Kristen was missing longer and longer, the story just grew and it grew. There was a lot of frustration with the campus police who were in charge. They were seen as like, the donut squad, couldn't solve the case of the missing ice cream. Soon, the sheriff's office came in and took over the case. But by this stage, it was summer break. The dorms were all empty, the campus was empty, and specifically all the dorms had been cleaned. So, if the campus police missed something, it wasn't possible to have a do-over. They went to re-interview Paul Flores.
Now that you've had, it's been almost a month. Yes. Right. Based on everything you know, the people you talked to, which I'm sure you've talked to some people.
About what? About that at the party?
About her. What do you think happened to Roxy? What's your best guess as to what happened?
My best guess is maybe because her dorm was by the parking lot over there. So then I would figure my best guess is she went off with someone. I don't know. She decided,
A stranger or what?
It could have been just someone that she knows. Someone might have gone, hey, let's go to Taco Bell or something.
You know what? This guy's starting to give me vibes of one of those liars that believe his own lies. Lies. You know what I'm saying? We have watched plenty of videos of people like this who they actually start to believe their own bullshit. Like they actually believe that shit smell good. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to give me them type of vibes. And the number one reason I say that is because he actually agreed to take a polygraph, knowing damn well he gonna fail it. But in his mind, he think he gonna pass it. He giving me them vibes. I'm not sure yet, but he's starting to give me them.
Because Taco Bell's open all night long.
what would be your best guess or your opinion as to what happened to her if she's not alive? What do you think happened?
I would say like someone who she hitchhiked with or something abducted her or something, you know.
Why would she be hitchhiking?
Well, what I'm saying, you know, people said they saw her hitchhiking, so.
Okay, but those people are mistaken. Let's say she was last in the area of the dorms there, where you walked away from her.
Okay.
And there's nowhere to hitchhike right in there. You think if something bad happened to her, what do you think happened to her from that point where you last saw her?
I don't know.
What do you think happened?
Some put her in the car and took her someplace. I don't know.
You know, you got play a little kissy face, little touchy poo, this kind of stuff. You know, if you did that, would you tell us about it and not be afraid to tell us? Because it's very important that you tell us everything. Because remember, we've talked to a whole lot of people, and they've told us some things, and we tried to fit all these pieces together. Now, if something like that happened, it doesn't mean anything bad, but it's very important to this total picture that if you did do, you know, kissed her a little bit or touched her a little bit, which is nothing wrong with it, but if you did, it's real important that you tell us. Did something like that happen, you know, based on her being a little loose or anything?
No.
Never kissed her or anything?
Never.
Did you want to kiss her?
No, I didn't feel, I don't remember feeling any attraction towards her, so.
4 or 5 people told us that they saw you trying to kiss her. In fact, it was in the hallway of the party, and you were trying to kiss her. In fact, I think she fell down on the ground, and you were laying down next to her trying to kiss her or something. Can you remember what happened with that?
Never even, I don't remember doing anything like that. I don't remember even doing anything like that.
Nothing?
Nuh-uh.
Nothing like that happened?
Nothing.
We know that wasn't the last place you
That's
saw
the last place I saw her.
Well, no, we know that's not true. See, and that's why we're trying to find out why you don't want to tell us about whatever else happened.
Just for my curiosity, where else was I seeing that then? I'm just curious.
Well, we can't go into a lot of that because remember I told you it's a big puzzle?
Yeah.
And we have to kind of fit these pieces together. If we tell you what we know, then it's like cheating at checkers.
I remember how he said he'd gotten the black eye from shooting hoops. Well, when they asked his friends about that, they said, we don't know what you're on about.
You know, one thing that really does look bad, and I don't know if you want to discuss this now, but we might as well. Then we need to really get cleared up. It's last time we talked to you, you had a black eye.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And what did you tell us?
I told you I got it playing basketball.
That's right. Where did you get it?
In my car.
And how did you get the black eye?
I hit the steering wheel. That's about it. But like, how often do people hit their eye in the steering wheel? So
I don't know.
See, it was like right here. So then I went like that, popped up.
Let me ask you this.
But
Listen, why didn't you tell us that?
Because it doesn't sound like a very likely thing.
That's exactly my point. Do you see my point now when I'm getting about on all this other stuff that happened? When you tell us something like that, and it doesn't make sense, see how bad it looks?
We now have to look at this in a different light.
And this basically what we watching right now, my brothers and sisters. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's get to the real thing of what we watching right now. What we watching right now is the police, the man in black, in the black shirt, the investigator, whatever you want to call him. He basically is debunking a lot of Paul bullshit. He know Paul bullshitting, but the problem is he don't have the evidence that Paul actually killed Christian. Like, he have no evidence tying him to Christian disappearance. That's the one thing that he don't have. Even though he debunking a lot of these stories about Paul playing basketball and that's how he got his black eye and all that. But the one thing he don't have is what happened to Christian or tying Paul to anything that happened to her. Hell, we don't even know where her body at this point. We really they don't even know if she dead or alive. You know what I'm saying? And Paul is holding on for dear life. Paul holding on for dear life. He is standing 10 toes down. that he ain't did this shit. And I think a reason why, because I believe Paul is an intelligent dude as far as like, not intelligent, he's dumb as fuck for killing somebody. He retarded as hell on that note. But on the other note, like, he ain't no dummy. He know what the fuck he doing. And he know that the police ain't got no evidence against him yet. And that's his leverage that he going with. Y'all get what I'm saying? That's basically what we watching right now. But let's keep watching.
Because if anybody lies, as much as you have, about something as serious as this is, what does that tell you?
I don't know of any lie I've done, so
all these other people are lying.
I have no idea about any of that stuff, so.
You lied to us, right?
Oh, it's not really lies, but thin. It's so minute. It's not. Well, I guess you can call it like a little white lie, but.
And you got your black eyes and white lie?
Yeah.
His story was now changing. He was fidgeting, stuttering, stumbling over his words throughout the entire interview. And after this, Paul would never speak to the police again. They also brought in cadaver dogs to his dorm, and although there wasn't anything physical there, the dogs could find... Well, the dogs were able to giving signs that there had been a dead body there. Nothing physical, but it was in the air. Everyone suspected Paul at this point. Everybody felt sure he had done something, but they didn't have anything on him. And time went by, and as they hounded and hounded Paul, he stopped cooperating with the police entirely. He said, "Speak to my lawyer." He wouldn't speak to anybody. But they had nothing to go on. They just completely suspected him. His story did not make any sense. He was clearly lying, but nothing. Christian parents would go to him continually, begging him to tell them something. Nothing. He was named. He was listed in the papers. He ended up losing 3 jobs in a row because of this, because of the scandal of his name. Kristen Smart's parents followed him everywhere. He even tried to enter the Navy to get away from them because they were hounding him. They were getting private investigators after him. They actually got to the US Navy before he did. And they declined. The Navy declined to accept him. They eventually filed a civil suit against Paul, just trying to get information. His parents, Reuben and Susan, were deposed. He was deposed.
Has your son ever told you that he did not kill Kristen Smart?
We never asked that question. Well, he just didn't know anything about it. He says no.
Is it your testimony that he's never talked to you about those things?
Was this girl murdered?
We've never discussed it as a death. Disappearance.
Do you have any information as to where Kristen Smart's body is located?
Of course not.
He literally said the bare minimum.
Paul Flores, a defendant in Smart versus Flores, San Luis Obispo Superior Court case.
Other than confirming Paul Flores' name, he does not intend to answer any questions, and on my advice will invoke the Fifth Amendment on all questions.
Would you state your full name for the record, please?
Paul Ruben Flores.
And what is your date of birth, sir?
10/22/76.
Your social security number?
546-975858.
What is your present residence address?
On the advice of my attorney, I refuse to answer that question based on the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Ask.
And see, now we can go ahead and confirm, because y'all remember earlier I was like, I don't know if he really not trying to, I was saying, like, I don't know if he know that the police ain't got nothing against him to really charge him with her murder like that. Like, they ain't got no evidence. Now he got this lawyer in his back pocket telling him the same exact thing. Yeah, we can pretty much confirm that that's how he thinking at this point, for sure. And that's why he ain't saying shit. He pleading the filth. I just hope he still go to prison for the rest of his fucking life.
Ask the questions or we'll leave.
All right, I'm going to make my record here. I've been advised that he's not going to answer the questions, so let's start asking the questions. Are you presently employed?
On the advice of my attorney, I refuse to answer that question based on the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Where do you presently reside?
On the advice of my attorney, I refuse to answer that question based on the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Where did you attend high school?
On the advice of my attorney, I refuse to answer that question based on the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
The civil suit was later closed. Now, small things came and went, but they always led to Paul Flores. Like in October of 1996, she's been missing for a few months. A tenant who was renting a house where Susan Flores, Paul's mother, had previously been living, she was in this house one day. She found an earring that she was full sure was Kristen's earring in this house where his mother had lived. It was of the same set in one of Kristen's photos. That earring, however, was lost before it was entered into evidence. Yeah, it was kind of eerie, or prescient, or maybe the opposite of that. But 6 months after Kristen Smart disappeared, one of the best horror movies of all time, Scream, came out, which is just so weirdly similar to what happened in San Luis Obispo. You have like the small Californian town, you have a killer going around, you have people disappearing. Living in the town watching that movie must have been just deja vu, eerily so. Because then, 2 other female students in the town vanished.
What the fuck? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell to the no. I thought it was just only Christian. Mike just shocked the shit out of me with that, y'all. It can't be him then. No, because they dropped all that shit. He back on the streets. That man back on the streets doing the same shit. That'll be crazy. I did not expect this. But wait! There's more!
November 1998, townspeople, still on edge with the Kristen Smart disappearance, were shocked when Rachel Newhouse vanished. Then, a few months later, in March 1999, Andrea Crawford vanished. Both seem to have been victims of violent abductions. Had a serial killer struck 3 times?
Because, like, just coming to San Luis and standing on the street corner and seeing someone walk by, it's like you just say, I wonder if that's him.
Soon after Andrea's disappearance, both Rachel and Andrea's bodies were found at the bottom of a canyon just outside of town. It was clear they both had been tortured, hog-tied, and left to strangle to death out there. It was very, very disturbing stuff. There was not a third body, though. Eventually, in April 1999, a man named Rex Allen Krebs was pulled over for a parole violation. He had a gun with him. He was taken in, and due to his past, he was questioned and eventually admitted to kidnapping both women. However, about Kristen, nothing. He was in jail at the time of her disappearance, and Rex Allen Krebs was later sentenced to death for what he did.
Good for his ass. So it wasn't him who killed Christian. I believe it was Paul. But see, I was thinking Paul maybe had killed them too. Let's go.
Or what about Scott Peterson, who actually attended Cal Poly the exact same time as Kristen Smart did? And you know, with what he would do later, we all know what that fellow was up to, but no, ruled out. Nope. It always came back to Paul. And years went by. Decades went by. In 2002, Kristen Smart was declared legally dead. Paul, his dad Ruben, and mother Susan said they were being harassed for years, like this time in Walmart.
Justice for Kristen Smart, everyone! Justice for Kristen Smart! Paul Flores, this guy murdered her. He knows he did. It's fucking very sad to see him walking around our hometown. Justice for Kristen Smart. Google it, look into it. Paul Flores, he murdered her. Okay? This is a true story, and I would never fucking do this anyway. I don't want to go to jail right now. This guy murdered Kristen Smart, and he's in your Walmart, okay? I apologize. Justice for Kristen Smart. Google it. His dad, Ruben Flores, is with him, is just as guilty. One day they will be in prison. Justice for Kristen Smart.
And that shit right there so unreal to look at. Because y'all know how we have talked about plenty of times on this channel, how when we walking out in Walmart, in the gas station, at work, man, we walking amongst killers. Somebody in that bitch is a fucking killer, man. That's how I look at it, y'all. For real, man. And it's just crazy. That's just the prime example. People just amongst killers in public Walmart and don't even know it.
Then in 2011, a new sheriff came to town, fresh blood, and he put in a huge amount of resources into Kristen Smart's disappearance, reopened it starting from the ground up. Searches redone. 23 search warrants and 96 interviews were done all these years later. And it still only pointed to Paul Flores. No new information, new leads pointing at anybody else that's ever been found. A podcast was launched, Your Own Backyard, by Chris Lambert. And he dug into the story, began passing new tips to the police, including how he spoke to a witness who had never spoken to the police before. This witness was an ex-girlfriend of Paul's. She claimed Paul had once told her, "I put her under," that he admitted killing Kristen Smart. Thanks to Chris Lambert and his podcast, he was able to pass this information onto the police and this new witness's statement.
And I started wondering, why has nobody made a documentary about this yet? And slowly over time that evolved into, am I going to be the guy to make a documentary about this?
And it seemed like progress was being made, like minute progress, but this case, which had, 1996, was almost 20 years later, it seemed like it had a heartbeat. Once again. Search warrants were executed at Paul Flores' home in San Pedro, California in 2020. 24.
And another thing that's pissed me off real quick now at this point, y'all, is the fact that this man, even if he is guilty and end up going to fucking prison for it or whatever, he still have been out for fucking damn near 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Living his regular life. He can complain about, I'm being harassed. Man, that ain't shit. Your ass need to be dead, bro, for what you did. And at the least locked up in prison and you been out free this whole time. That part right there started like kind of piss me off, just that fact.
4 years after what happened at the college, they were still determined that he had done something and they were not going to let this go. And it's a good thing, because what they found in his home, in his house, they found roofies, or maybe not exactly roofies, but date rape drugs mixed with alcohol. You'll pass out. They also found homemade videos of him sexually assaulting women. The folder on his computer that these videos were found in was labeled practice. Practicing for what? Seems he never changed from his old behavior of what he was like back in college. He would go around to bars, slip things in girls' drinks, take them home. He was accused of being a depraved monster, which I think is very true, but he never faced charges. The police kept going back to Paul's father, Ruben, his house. Allegedly, there were some parts of the house Ruben wouldn't let anybody in. He said, nope, no sorry, you're not going in there. And no one was allowed under the deck of his house. So the police got a warrant, and they allowed themselves. Using ground-penetrating radars, things lit up down there. Maybe not a body, but there was something buried under the house. The deck was dug out, and they found what's called soil staining. A body decomposing will stain the dirt around it. They didn't find a body, but they did find this soil staining and some fibers. Clothing. The color of the fibers was like black and white, the same colored clothing Kristen was wearing the night she vanished. When the samples were sent, the staining was found to be blood. Now, DNA wasn't able to be gathered from it, so they weren't able to say it was Kristen Smart's blood, but it was blood. So with blood and with fibers matching the clothing she was wearing, but no body, that did not stop them.
You know, Jeff, I mean, this is one of these stories that has captured the world's attention for more than 2 decades. Tonight, we are live here on Upland Avenue in San Pedro, in front of the home where someone was finally arrested in this case.
Both Paul and his dad, Ruben, were arrested. Paul was charged with her murder. Ruben with helping him cover it up. They both pleaded not guilty. They were tried together with 2 separate juries present. Witnesses from the party that night, that long night ago, testified, saying it didn't seem like she was drunk that night. That maybe that night, when she was found passed out in the garden, in the lawn in front, maybe she'd actually been drugged that night by Paul, because that was something he just loved to do. Women who'd been drugged by Paul spoke at his trial. But the defense said, prove it. Prove anything they were saying actually happened. There was absolutely no physical evidence tying Paul Flores to the death, the murder of Kristen Smart, even if she was dead. There was no proof she was even dead. She's been declared dead, but you listen to Paul's attorney speak and he thinks she's out there laughing her way to somewhere. She did enjoy using different names and loved to try. No. At the end of the trial, Paul was found guilty of the murder of Kristen Smart. There was just way too much there. Too much smoke for there not to be fire. He was sentenced to 25 years to life. That's not actually going particularly well, because in August 2023, he was attacked in prison and sent to a hospital in very serious condition. You know what I would give the guy who did that to Paul? Nice big handshake. Ruben was acquitted of helping his son dispose of Kristen's body.
All that stuff they say is evidence. You look through it, and there is no evidence against anybody, me or Paul. There wasn't any time, and just too much made-up stuff. That's all I can say. And it's too bad that sometimes the system works that way on feelings instead of facts. You know.
Now I'm just gonna speak on the father real quick. I feel like the father is full of shit, but when I say full of shit, I don't mean like I think that he actually did it or had something to do with it. I mean that I think the father know that his son killed damn Christian. He know that shit, but he just want to lie for him and keep the narrative going that he ain't do nothing. Y'all ain't got no evidence. Y'all ain't got no evidence. He ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? He know he did something. He know that his son did that, and that's why he full of shit. But just me personally, I don't think that he actually had anything to do with it, other than keeping it hush hush.
Paul truly seems like a monster. He was just getting worse and worse. He's definitely where he should be. Like, he's the definition of a predator. Although when I say definitely where he should be, I include the hospital in that. Just saying. A scholarship was set up in Kristen's name, helping young female students get a better education. But Kristen has never been found to this day. Hopefully one day she will be.
Damn, man.
Thank you so much for watching. It really means the absolute world to me that you're here watching this old video. As always, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Really. So yeah, before I get all awkward. Next old video will be up in a couple of days, so please look forward to that. Check out the That Chapter podcast for a whole host of other weird stories. We're talking about aliens now, so it's kooky stuff, but it's a lot of fun. And until then, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.
Man, my brothers and sisters. This one right here is more sad to me than anything. And it's sad for one reason in particular that may sound weird to y'all, but I know y'all gonna get what I'm saying too. Because at this point, we all can come to the conclusion that Kristen dead, right? And that's sad enough. But I just feel like the fact that we never found where her body at, or really can just 100% say that, boom, Paul, you the killer. Even though we got enough evidence to charge him for and put him in prison and all that, but we just ain't we got enough. Not physical. So what would that be? It's not physical evidence. I don't feel like we got enough physical evidence, but we got enough hypothetical evidence. That's not the word, man. That is not the word. But y'all know what I'm saying. Like, we just don't have that one thing to really just pinpoint that, boom, you the one who did it. Now, about that whole blood stains under the house type thing that was going on, even that came up. We really couldn't prove the DNA was actually Christian, even though the cloth was the same color she was wearing when she disappeared and all that, but it still was not enough. That's the only thing, like, we just don't have enough evidence, man. And like I said, that's just the saddest thing for real, that we just never really found her body to at least lay her body in peace. You know what I'm saying, y'all? That's the thing that's just sad to me. But I'm 100,000 million, kabillion, kazillion% sure that it was Paul who did the shit. I hated the fact that he stayed out all them years, though. I really hated that. I'm glad he up in there now, and I hope that he'll never get out again, man. It was crazy, my brothers and sisters, man. And another just real crazy thing was that people was going around here calling him what? Lester the molester, Chester the molester. And he still, like, that's the big ass sign right there. Oh, and another thing that even just lets you know that it was him. Bruh, after you going through this big ass case about this shit, and you saying you innocent, you innocent, you innocent. Well, why would you be so stupid enough to let these damn let anybody? Why would you have damn videos? This is what I'm saying. Why would you have videos on your fucking computer of you drugging women and shit and taking them back to your house? Why would you have it if you really so innocent, bro? Explain that to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So we know it was him, y'all. We know it was him. But I digress, my brothers and sisters. Let me go and let y'all go, man. I appreciate y'all coming on back once again. Before y'all leave, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that. And come on back tomorrow, because I will be back tomorrow. Most definitely. And until I see y'all again, my friends, remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.